Hi, good evening. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. It's good to have you here today. Thank you for joining. Good evening. Sorry, got a bit of a teary high situation going on. Don't know, something got into my eyes just a few minutes ago. So, hi, hi. Hello. I see you all. Thank you for joining today. I appreciate your beautiful energy. Thank you. Thank you. How are you today? Let me know in the comments how you had today. Thank you for joining. Sorry, I've got cold. A little bit of cold today. My apologies. Thank you for joining. I see you all. Thank you. Yes, thank you for letting me know, Zima, but you're fine. So our host is going to join us right up. I am good, Emmy. I am good. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Yes, I am fine. I'm okay. It's the end of the week. It's been quite a stressful week for me. But I'm here, always present to follow through with my passion and my dreams. So I'm here. Okay, I cannot have. Good evening, wisdom. I see some people are trying to join. I apologize. I cannot bring you on until we have our session with our host, with our guest rather. Thank you. Waiting for our guest to join. Dr. Linus Okorie. It's a big deal to have him on today as a guest. A very, very important guest on the show today, I must tell you. Okay. All right. We have the boss here. Hello, sir. Good
Hello. Hi.
evening.
Good
I
evening.
am
How are you
good.
today?
I'm okay.
Amazing. Amazing.
Thank you so much. I know you are an extremely busy person. I was just telling a friend, I said, it's big deal that you're making time out of your very busy schedule to join today. So I'm really honored.
Thank you.
Permit me to say, may God honor you for,
Amen.
accepting my invitation today. I do not take this
Amen.
for granted. And I
Amen.
also want to appreciate you. For those who don't know, I was part of Mr. Doctor, because I got to get used to that. Dr. Linus program. Privileged to be a part of the program, as a matter of fact. And I just want to say thank you so much for the knowledge you
Wow.
passed
Good to know.
and
Good to know.
everything that you do for us. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. How are you today, sir? How are you today?
Excellent. Wonderful.
Okay,
Very
how has the
people.
week been so far?
Well, it's been stretching all day. And so after this right now, I think I'll just go take the leader's rest.
If I may ask, for somebody who is quite busy like you, how do you unwind? Because I always wonder if, people like yourself, do you take a break sometimes? Do you take a walk? Do you meditate? How do you unwind?
So sometimes I actually take a walk, but I'm a
Mhm.
lazy. I'm a lazy in that regard.
Okay.
Then, but I love to sleep. Just
Mm,
disappear from everybody. I just sleep for a while,
that's good.
basically. And then sometimes swimming also does it for me,
Yes.
And then I love to watch Indian films. Indian films. Indian films. Beautiful.
For real? You
Yes,
guys,
it's so
are you
relaxing.
hearing that? Okay, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, here we go with the network. This network should not. Okay, the network almost. The Indian film part caught my attention, sir. I must say, I cannot believe that
Yes,
you
yes,
actually sit
absolutely. I
through
can see.
3 hours. They have some
You
amazing
know,
films, though.
it
I must
interests you
say.
to know that Indians, they have
Mm-hmm.
gone out of this world. It will
Yeah.
interest you to know that Indians have gone out of this world in
Mm-hmm.
terms of
Mm-hmm.
production. In terms of
Mm,
their production is A level.
mm-hmm.
I mean, the
Yes.
storytelling is unbelievable. If you watch
Yes. Network. You guys. Okay.
some of the beautiful, inspiring, latest modern Indian movies, you fall in love
Mm.
with
Yeah.
their storytelling. How
Sorry, it's the network.
Indian films.
Oh, that's good. I was going to ask, there is a movie that I've seen, an Indian movie, by, I think, Bashan, that's his name, and Tabo, it's called Pink. You might want to see that as well. There's a movie called Pink, and there's another one called Toilets. These are movies that actually address social issues rather, and sort of like tilt towards the SDGs. So two of those movies, are supported by the UN. So you might want to see that as well. Beautiful,
Yes,
beautiful movie. So
absolutely.
everybody, for those who joined today, I mean, you can see leadership doesn't mean people don't relax.
Yeah, yes.
Dr. Lance just broke the table. I mean, I wouldn't believe we would watch Indian movies, but thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. All right, I'm just going to read Dr. Linus's profile very quickly, everyone. Please just permit me take a listen. He has an amazing profile. I cannot read it all. I must tell you, Dr. Linus Chinedu Okorie, popularly known as Linus Okorie, is a Nigerian leadership consultant and author. He serves as the president and founder of Guidance of Nations International, GOTNI, a non-profit leadership development organization based in the Federal Capital Territory, Nigeria. He is a conference speaker and a regular guest in many print media, radio, and television platforms across Nigeria. He is the radio and TV host of the Leadership Clinic. I didn't know, I must say, that. Okay, all right,
Can I
sir.
stop and call you back?
Yes, please, absolutely. We need you to be on fully. All right, guys. So please, let's hold on. We need a better network because this is a masterclass session. It's not just your regular, and we're going to be learning a lot today. So, of course, we need to have good network and good communication from Dr. Linus. For those who are joining, who are requesting to join, I am sorry. We need to get right into our session today. I cannot invite you live right now. Okay, so, all right, here we go. Yeah. Waiting for the network. Let's hope that the network would cooperate. I think it's better now, hopefully. Can you hear me, sir? Okay. Oh, I don't know what religion you guys belong to. Can you just speak in your religions? Let's show us some positive light. This network should not spoil our greatness. No, this is a powerful session. This network should not spoil our greatness today. Right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for your beautiful, beautiful energy. Waiting for our guests to connect back. As usual, network is unpredictable in our dear country. So I apologize for the break in transmission. I was trying to get right into the conversation. And I hope everyone is good this evening. I hope you all are having an amazing, amazing evening. I hope you had a good week as well. So sorry for this little bit of network-ish. Shouldn't be a problem. Sure, it's going to be back in a bit. Okay. We have Dr. Linus back with us. Thank you for joining, everyone. Thank you. Okay, this network should not do anyhow today, sir. Because there are a lot of people who are really, into the session. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. I'm just going to get right. But before I go into the Q&A, I saw something on your Wikipedia page that caught my attention. And it's your birthplace. You were born in Cameroon. There are so many surprises to you. And I said to myself, okay, what part of Cameroon do you have, in terms of your person, in terms of your persona? What part of, that culture would you say you imbibe as a person?
Okay, so first thing first is that we were all born in Kumba, Cameroon. We call it K-Town. K-Town is where, everybody is excited about, every other person. You know what I mean? There's so much passion to build relationships that are sustainable. People will not be bothered about somebody's success. They just encourage you in that sense. So it's like a free life of some sort. But again, my getting out of Cameroon also was a good story for me, because I passed one of the most interesting schools in Boya, but my parents didn't have money to make sure I go through that school. So they had to send me to Nigeria, while I was done with my primary school. So I came back after doing primary 7.
Wow.
Primary 7, I came back and repeated primary 6.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to get admission into a model school instead of staying in the village. Instead of staying in the village and go straight from Cameroon to a local village school. I refused that. I would rather repeat, primary 6, with my sister. I was staying in my sister's house in Ijewere. And so that's what I did. I had to go to the community school, one of the areas there, and then from there I was able to pass the model school, government secondary school, Owerri, 60-year-old at that time, top notch. And the school was made up of very smart, quality people. In fact, but I was one of the poorest in terms of my parents of students were very rich or middle class, and we had Federal Government Girls College just beside us. So you could imagine an environment where I grew on, and then I wanted to make a difference from there onward, within school.
Thank you.
And I ended up becoming senior prefect.
Oh, thank you for sharing. Do you speak any language?
I speak, of course, my local language, Igbo. I speak French, like,
Okay.
little French. At least I can
Okay.
communicate in French because I was born in Cameroon and I went to French
Okay.
school.
Okay.
Then which other language do I speak? Of course, I think that's all I speak.
Oh,
Nothing.
okay.
And then I created my own language. Only some very close friends can tell when I speak to them. And
Okay.
then
Thank
the
you for
pidgin
sharing.
language of Cameroon, pidgin language, who can sell you,
Oh my
if
God.
you're with me, and there's a
Mm.
Cameroonian who will just sell you and you don't know what we're talking about.
I have a friend who is from the Bamileke. Is that what they call it?
Bamileke,
Bamileke.
Bamileke tribe, Bamileke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bamili.
that's
Yes.
the tribe. That tribe is like Igbos. Igbos, they are
Yes.
traders. They are,
Mm-hmm.
wealthy, very wealthy tribe. They create
Mm-hmm.
wealth,
Mm-hmm.
specific. In fact, every tribe in Cameroon, there's something that you must know about each tribe.
That's
For
what you
instance,
told
the
me.
Bakosi tribe, you know that they're civil
Mm-hmm.
servants, mostly teachers, police officers, those types of, people. The Bangis are mainly police officers, police,
Oh,
I think. And then so there are different kinds of groups. Quite interesting.
beautiful childhood you had there. I mean, I think we need to hear more of it. When I saw it on the Wikipedia, I said I was going to take you up on it, and now I think I would go to Google more about Cameroon and the culture, or maybe I would ask my friend to tell me. So now let's get right into the session. What inspired you to start GOTNI?
It will interest you to know that I was 19 years old. I just finished secondary school, government secondary school, Ijewere. And so I decided to attend, what they call WOFB, Word of Faith Bible Institute.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there's a course there called Divine Direction.
Oh,
So when I went through the course, I came in contact with a book in the Bible called Nehemiah. Nehemiah. When I read the book, Nehemiah is a beautiful book on leadership. You
mm,
could see how somebody left the king's palace. Nehemiah left the king's palace, left comfort, left, all those beauty, vanities, and all of that, and decided to go back to rebuild his country. And he decided to risk his life
mm,
with a great vision. He was a cupbearer to the king and told the king that he wanted to go and rebuild his country. And he mobilized people, went and did strategy, developed a system that worked, became visionary. Everything about him was just amazing. He was able to mobilize people and then put them in different parts of the team. In fact, all of them built differently. Even they even have strategy on how to overcome opposition. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
And they have deadline on when to finish the project. And they raise funds, mobilize funds, and everything. And this guy was so different that when he succeeded, he succeeded on the date he set up, deadline, timeline. That was amazing for me. And then when he became governor, and some of his men were cheating the poor people, within the system. They were not, inspiring them. They were collecting their monies and collecting and eating. So the man decided to fight his friends in order to ensure that everybody, and was even with his own private money bringing out food for everybody to eat every day in his compound. So I felt a man who has a concept I call delayed gratification. I saw many leadership competencies. These things I call leadership competencies. And I wept for a couple of days because I looked around me and I didn't see any of those types of leaders. A lot of people that I saw, their leadership model did not fit into the model that I saw. And so it was in view of that I decided, to call a few of my friends and we set up, Guardians of the Nation International GOTNI, right? And began to stretch to make sure that we got into the university with a vision. And it's been 27 years plus. I can tell you that, we've stayed the course, with that vision. You know what I mean? And I've seen a lot of people who we groomed in the university. I've seen a lot of them, making waves in their workplaces and adding value. For me, it's just amazing. And the journey has just begun in that sense, because
Absolutely.
right now, there will be a critical mass of people thinking differently as a result of the type of investment over time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. I think the first time I heard about GOTNI was from my friend Balkis Adeshoko. I don't know if you know her. Balkis of Green
Yeah,
Magazine.
yes,
I used
absolutely.
to be one of the editors for, Green Magazine.
Oh,
And
wow.
yes, and I know that she wouldn't stop talking about GOTNI. So I didn't
That's
get right
many
into
years
what it
back.
was. Yeah, I didn't get right into what GOTNI was at the time because, we were young, we were in the university, just doing our thing. But then she was so passionate about the work that you do, that the name stuck to me. It is something just, it stuck to me like, okay, somebody had mentioned this thing somewhere. So yes, just so you know, there are a lot of us who have known about you for many years. And,
Wow.
and that's why it's a privilege to, have you here today. Thank you so much for sharing your, inspirational story. And who is a leader, sir? Who do we call a leader?
Okay, great. So let me start with, I had the honor of hosting a great man called Dr. Miles Monroe in the city of Owerri a couple of years ago while he was speaking to 1,500 people. So in the middle of his speech, he wanted to, define leadership. So he said, Linus said, do you know that there are over 5,000 definitions of leadership?
Mhm.
But what I'm about to give to you now is something that I've built over time, and I love it,
Mhm.
right? And he said, I quote, Dr. Miles Monroe said, leadership is the ability to inspire, motivate, drive a group of people towards a particular direction via inspiration, not intimidation or manipulation. In fact, a leader is someone who has the capacity to develop a vision for the future and the capacity to mobilize people to support that vision while maintaining high level of influence because the people follow him because number one, he leads by example. The people follow him, number two, because he understands emotional intelligence and how to care for other people. So the people follow him. The people follow him because he serves them. A leader serves. A leader does not arrogate power to himself. A leader is someone who is always seeing a vision beyond him, and he gives his life to the pursuit of that vision for the sake of the common good. Any leader that you see that is pursuing an agenda that will add color to the common good is a leader. So most of the time, a lot of people occupy public positions. A lot of people actually they might make you a head of your department in your whatever, even if it's your church, they might make you a head of department in your business or in the organization where you work for. It doesn't mean that you are a leader. What it means is that they have given you an opportunity to actually prove that you can inspire people and get to the point of influence and respect. So whenever you talk about leadership, you talk about sustainability. When you hear the word leader, the leader, what you're referring to is somebody who has capacity to mobilize people in such a way to pursue an idea in such a way that he meets or she meets the needs of the current generation, of the current members of his team, without playing with the future needs of those set of people. So which means that he doesn't come right here and then he takes all the money and he eats for himself, and then at the end of the day there's no money reserved for the future. So that's why leaders are always thinking in the context of future. They are multipliers. They come into a system, leaders ensure that they multiply people such that everyone becomes more because the leader is in your space, right? Because everybody wants to be a leader, everybody wants to count, but the truth of the matter is that it's not everybody who wants to be a leader that ends up becoming a leader, right? If wishes were horses, beggars will ride on them. A lot of people that carry themselves as leaders don't even understand the concept of leadership. Leadership, at the heart of leadership, is sacrifice. Any leader who cannot sacrifice for the sake of other people, trust me, that person cannot be termed as a leader. And the truth of the matter is that leadership in this context also is an idea that its time has come, for this country, that everybody who is a leader never thinks about the past only. They think about the past, but guess what? They also think about the future, and they take people around them and take them to the future. And at the end of the day, they can build systems. Leaders have built companies. Leaders have built government institutions. Leaders have built countries as a result of the fact that they were prepared to lead. So, if you ask me again, who is a leader? And I can simply tell you that a leader is someone who has a heart for others, someone who has a vision for the betterment of every other person. A leader is somebody who drives progress, who is uncomfortable with the status quo. A leader is somebody who is uncomfortable with the status quo. Let me create a scenario, and I normally use that in my courses. Imagine if there's a room that is very dirty. So I'm going to create 3 scenarios, 3 persons. The first person, who says is a leader, walks into that room and complains, what a dirty room, what a dirty room, this room is so dirty, and shout. At the end of the day, walks out of that room without doing anything. The second person comes in, what a dirty room, complains about the room, but decides to say, I will manage. And he sits there. And the third person comes, sees the room and says, wow, what a dirty room. But I think we have to create a vision for a clean room. So in his mind, he sees a room that is clean, a room that is beautiful. Then he sells the vision to every other person that could buy it in that environment. So 5 people come and say, let's clean this place. This is the vision of this room must be clean. And then people follow him. They follow him, and then they start as a group, as a team. He mobilizes the team and they start working. By the time that room is cleaned up, what do you think will happen? The first person who came and complained and jumped out will be the first person that will come and take a seat. The second person who was managing will be dancing as if he's the one that made it happen. Meanwhile, the one who made it happen can just go and sit at the back. He doesn't want any recognition for himself because he has served. But as soon as he has served, recognition must come to him. Leadership, that's the way leadership works. You can serve in your corner, recognition will come to you. Mother Teresa didn't have to occupy any public position. She just, saw a need in society and wanted to turn things around and set the vision straight and mobilize resources, mobilize people, and began a journey. And guess what? Many years she'd been on the journey. World leaders, invite her. She spends time with the best of leaders in the world. And guess what? The day she died, head of states, important persons from all over the world went to celebrate her. But there was a man called Mobutu Sese Seko of Zaire. If you remember, he was the president of the country for many years and stole the country dry. And at the end of the day, when they chased him out of the country after they were tired of him, he wasn't bringing any value, he wasn't generating any value, he was taken from the system. When they chased him out, as I'm talking to you right now, the day he died in Morocco, and only a few family friends went to honor him. So at the end of the day, right? So leadership for me is a context, not the context of position. It's the context of the individual. In his environment, finding something that he's willing to give his entire life to and drive it in such a way that it brings value to the common good, brings value to the people. And at the end of the day, people will show him respect and people will honor him. And at the end of the day, guess what? Everybody will begin to rally around him to get the job done, or rally around her to get the job done. So that's the concept of leadership that I like. Everybody a leader. Mindset transformation first. People think it first and then they leave it out. In that context.
Thank you. That's powerful. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to take you on something you mentioned. That's leaders being multipliers. A leader is supposed to multiply. And that is exactly what you've done, at GOTNI, raising thousands of leaders across the globe. How does it feel knowing that at least there is one young person in almost every state in Nigeria who can link you to their greatness? How does it make you feel?
You know, over the years, when I started pushing this idea, there were times whereby there would not be any money in my pocket to drive the vision, and I would be telling myself, "Oh God, I think I should give up." Something tells me give up. But as I'm considering that, I walk into a bank. Somebody jumps out of her seat or his seat and say, "Mr. Linus Okorie, do you remember so yeah, in the basketball court, 5 a.m. in the morning, where you sat with us and shared these principles on this and that? I have become something because of that principle. I just want to say thank you." And then I sit down. My transactions are all carried out. There's no city in the world today, from London to Abeokuta, to Ibadan, to Owerri, to Jos, to Washington DC, to Dallas. Mention the city that I will go to that I will not see anyone who literally will jump and say, "Whoa, you have impacted my life." Is the fulfillment that makes us happy. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Yes.
once you see somebody who has grown as a result of your impact around it, because life is all about impact. What happens is that it gives you joy. It gives you, there's nothing, in fact, it's more than money. The feeling you get is the fulfillment that, wow, so many people are being transformed. And there's something I really want to say, and I want it to be very clear.
Yes. Please go on. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you.
A lot of people think, that leadership or leaders don't actually make mistakes. They think leaders are perfect human beings. Do you get what I mean? So when you begin to understand the context of leadership, you realize that somebody might have 95% full blown, ready to serve society, doing so well, but there's an area of his life that's a deficit, right? That individual is a general. That individual needs to continue to grow and make a difference. And at the end of the day, the moment we realize that leaders also make mistakes, it will change the context of leadership we stop judging people, right? And we start, inspiring people to make things happen within society.
Thank you so very much, sir, for that. One other thing that I'd like to know is you've spoken so well, but then we also know that every leader has a mentor. So could you kindly share with us, 3 men who inspire you, to be where you are and be who you are today? If you have more than that, fine. But I just thought I should limit it to that. To 3 people who
it will be
inspired you.
injustice, right? If I don't mention more than 3 people, really.
I can imagine.
So I mean, the first person I would like to mention here is, Mr. Chudo Onuzo, who currently is late now. He died just a few months ago. And he was the man that I sat with, and 2 of us, if I was Director General of State Broadcasting Corporation then, and I sold the vision to him in the house of the Commissioner for Finance.
The network. Sorry, guys, the network. I'm sure Dr. Linus is going to try and reconnect with us. I apologize for the glitch. Okay. So sorry about that. These things we cannot control, sadly. But we are in this today, and we're going to have an amazing session. So I believe that Doctor would join in. Okay. Okay. I don't know if that's...
Yes. So I'm talking about, this man is very honorable, respected in the state as VP of Igbo Broadcasting Corporation. And I went and met him. And when I saw him in the Commissioner for Finance's house in Igbo, I went to sell the vision of GOTNI to him, bought into it. And to be fair to him, he was the one who said, let's call it Guardians of the Nation International. I mean, it's amazing. 20-something years ago. And that's how, that's the first person. The second one is, then Commissioner of Finance, who taught me how to read, who taught me how to be friends with books. I'll carry my bag and go to his house, and I don't want to leave his house, right? Until they give me a guest house to stay in. You know what I mean? And that was how I began visiting the library and coming to my room with books. I was doing like 4 or 5 books a week, at that time. The hunger to become somebody, the hunger to stretch, because my story is quite an outstanding one. I finished, there was nobody to take care of me, in that sense. My mom had 9 of us. My father died when I was in class 3. You know what I'm talking about? So I was only thinking about how could I basically make a big difference until I met, these individuals who housed me. And, people like Engineer Charles Okorie, fantastic, gentleman working in Shell for Shell then. Mazi Samo Wabonwa, that great man, who, prompted me, pushed me to become, Dr. Dionekusi. Some of these are powerful individuals who were there for me, right? And then, of course, Professor Patu told me, I mean, somebody that I was research and executive assistant to him, at the Lagos Business School part-time, So, and then, my life began to grow. Then Dr. Miles Monroe, then Professor John Adair. These are powerful individuals, then later period, Brad Tracy, and all the individuals you can imagine. Several of them were inspiration, to me at the end of the day.
Thank you.
For my MD, Fidelity Bank. I mean, these are individuals who shaped me in different areas of my life. And then, of course, you had at the spiritual level, you had people like Bishop Dixon or Loronda. It's unbelievable, fantastic.
I would like to ask you, because you've mentioned men from different sectors now. So, how important is it, to have a mentor to career growth? Now, you've mentioned people from the spiritual world, from the, religious world. You've mentioned people from the finance industry. So for young people who are watching right now, how important is mentorship to career growth?
So every young person listening to me, your life is a combination of inspiration and skills you gather from different sources, right? That's why the most important thing for every young person is to immediately find yourself what we call build a board of trustees for your life, a board of governance for your life. People who have capacity to speak to you, and I mean, there's something that I might do right now, and somebody's going to call me on the phone to say, hey, Linus, why did you do this? And I'll have to explain. I have to, so I'm answerable to somebody, in different aspects of my life. And you must balance that, you don't just have to, if you're an entrepreneur, you would understand that there's a place for those who are business leaders, there's a place for those who are leadership coaches, you know what I mean? And there's a place for spiritual advisors, there's a place for all manner. But the whole idea is that you must mobilize people who have gone ahead of you and succeeded in different areas of life. And when you encounter them, guess what happens to you? Growth happens to you. Guess what? We are the same person that we are from now till the next 5 years, except for 2 things. The people we meet and the books that we read. So if you meet with certain individuals who are inspiration models, they are impactful individuals, you know what happens to you? You go forward. But if you meet people who can add value to you, go backward. And then you read their books. Sometimes you have not met them, but you read their materials and books, so they inspire you from afar.
That's amazing. While we were talking, a couple of people commented and said, can Dr. Linus be my mentor? So I'm just going to prove that out in the open. What does it take for a person, to be your mentee? What are the criteria? Because I know you have a lot of mentees. So, but if it's going to be a one-on-one mentorship, what does it take?
Okay, so let me say this. I started with GOTNI, youth leadership development programs in my early life, right? So which means that I gave my time, attention. Over 300,000 young people benefited from a program dedicated to youth leadership development. I was in the schools, every NYC camp, we had representatives all over the country. We were there for, making, in fact, Emerging Leaders Conference just turned 21. This year is going to be 22 years that we started the 1,000 people every year bringing people from all over the country to inspire them. So I've gotten to a point where I've given birth to several leaders who can now mentor, some of the other leaders, in that sense. So, but guess what? One of the things that I want to, encourage young people to do is that when you decide somebody is going to be a mentor, there are a few things that you have to do. Number one, read everything you can read about the person.
Yes.
Number two, if the person has a course, like we have a leadership center, find a course that you can invest your money to attend. That there will be contact, right? When I wanted to meet with a John Maxwell or a Brian Tracy, what I simply did was I invested, in their lives, which means, I had programs, maybe a Brian Tracy, his program cost $10,000, and I had to pay that to go to America to be in his space. It is only when I appeared in his space that connection happened. Do you get what I mean? So
Yes.
a lot of, young people think that, when they come to you, they come with a mindset of taking. Take. They are not thinking about giving. They are not thinking, so a lot of people are not interested in mentoring people who just see opportunity and they just want to pump in their heads. Sometimes somebody went the other day met me and said, sir, I want you to be my mentor. Really? So I said, okay, what's my name? He said, I don't know your name. But I see you every day on television. You don't know my name. So how do I mentor somebody who doesn't know my name? You see?
I know, right?
That's why, despite of the fact that we have floated GOTNI Leadership Center in this town, the most comprehensive leadership center in the country, that in West Africa, that will take executive education to top level. So instead of people going to school in America, Harvard and those places and pay a lot of money, people can do local content, and they take courses in Nigeria, business leaders, political class, and all sorts of human beings inspiring themselves, to be the best they can be. So what it means is that, but despite of all of that, I still find time once in a while, deliberate with intention to find young people worthy of my investments. Yeah. So in a year, I can decide to invest, in a particular number of young people in the GOTNI Leadership Center. So imagine some people pay 500,000 naira to attend a course, but guess what? I take the course from them, and I pay for them to have access. Sometimes 700 people apply, and then only very few, about 44, will get it, and then we train them for free. So imagine the kind of impact that will create. So my concept is that Nigerians, people who are successful in businesses, in different aspects of life, should also open up their doors so that young people can access, to them, to be able to benefit from things that can add value, to their lives. Very important. Imagine if everybody, who is listening to me now, if you have means, you say, I want to sponsor 40 young people. I mean, create a fellowship program at the GOTNI Leadership Center. Create a chair, invest in 40 people, and will transform their lives. Those young people will ever be grateful to you. Imagine if we have 200 people do that. Then we'll begin to invest in a critical mass that will help this country make a lot of progress. Trust me.
Absolutely. I can see someone in the comments saying, I have been GOTNIfied. And that's a powerful one. Before I go to the next question, there is something, you talked about, and that's leadership coach. I feel that word, with due respect to you, sir, we know you are a leader, has been abused. Because it appears that a lot of people now who are leadership coaches out there. You check people's profile, and in my head, I'm like, okay, you are a leadership coach. What training do you have? Because if you get what I'm saying, so I just want to know, is there a body? Is there like an organization, that actually do this checking? So we don't fall into wrong hands, thinking somebody is a leader.
Okay,
when the
great.
person
So
is
let me say. And what I did from day one, I began to research. I went into research, personal research, with no institution. I went to Imo State University, my first degree, studied history and international relations. But within the school, I have done research that professors do, right, on the subject of leadership. There's a body of knowledge about leadership that I wanted to create. There was nowhere in this country, in Africa, I could find anywhere to go and submit myself to get leadership training. The best that was a business school, right? The business school is not equal to leadership, school. I had to go to Regent University in America, Virginia Beach, right? And did my master's in organizational leadership. And when I came out, from there, I started immediately with my, my PhD, right? Or call it strategic, leadership. And then because of politics, right? I couldn't continue with that, right? But what I did was that anywhere there was a short course of leadership, from Harvard University, the art and practice of leadership, I went there to take those type of courses. I brought in the first professor of leadership in the world, John Adair, who inspired me and trained me in the UK, right? I began to, so the kind of short courses are taking in this life, right? So, people were calling me professor of leadership many, many years ago, right? And then the next thing was that I started having honorary doctoral degrees, right? And, just a few years ago, Gregory University, the first indigenous university to honor me, in respect of what I have done with leadership in this country, with an honorary doctoral degree. And there is outside, right, amongst the two other honorary doctoral degrees that have been given. So what you see for me right now is a leadership production of 27 years, right? If you're able to do one thing, you do it for 10 years, right? You become, the boss is. Right now, I am supposed to be certifying people. Basically, this is what we are doing. That's why GOTNI Leadership Center, a certificate, is one of those certificates that, globally people respect and hold very dearly. Because if you come to the GOTNI Leadership Center and you take a certificate, there's something that it does to you. It creates a hunger for learning again. You feel you know nothing, right? You want to be more. You want to do more. You want to be able to at least transform society. That's what happens here. It's a product of 27 years of work. Yes. In case you meet young people who come and tell me I'm a leadership coach after 2 years of leaving university. I'm a leadership consultant, 2 years of leaving university. Right? So how do you do that? But this is something before I go to university, I have researched it, I've lived it, I've sat under some of the best names in the world, from Dr. Miles Monroe, they mentioned their names of people, George Fraser. These are authorities on the subject matter. John Maxwell himself, all the authorities you can imagine. I have been in their spaces. What does that mean? I've also written books. In fact, this year, 4 of my books are on the way out. What does it mean? I've created courses that you can't even find in Harvard. You can't even find in Harvard. These are local content courses that can, give different meaning, to perspective to leadership in Africa, and how leaders can grow, with these nuggets and become the best that they can ever be. So what I'm telling you today is the fact that my training, my exposure to the very best minds, my work of research over the years, and also the practical side of it. I have done it, or we have done it. You can see the other day, President Olusegun Obasanjo came here to open this leadership center. We are not saying we will do, we have done it. Does that make sense? And we give God praise for making that happen. Because this.
Okay, here we go with the network. Dr. Linus will be back with us. Thank you. We can hear you, sir. Please go on.
Yeah, I think I've ended on that topic.
Okay, thank you. So what does it take, for a person to sort of like come into GOTNI and take a course? I'm sure a lot of people would want to do that.
So right here at GOTNI, we have different courses. For instance, Advanced Leadership Program is our interesting program for CEOs and top executives, both in private sector and public sector, and even in social impact places, right? So what we do is that people come in here and then become part of Advanced Leadership Program. It's really a 6-day program, and then after 6 days, people are so transformed and they go back to their communities and transform their businesses and institutions and things like that. And then they graduate with their jackets, and they are so proud of graduating and things like that. So we have it here in the Leadership Center in Abuja, and we have it in the Marriott Hotel in Lagos. In fact, the next one, the next advanced leadership program is coming to Marriott on the 4th to the 8th of July, and it's going to be massive. Anyone who is listening to me right now can drop a message and say, I want to be part of the advanced leadership program. We also have leadership master classes, and they should go to our website. They should go to our website, right now and get more information about our courses, www.gotni.africa, or, even go to GOTNI Instagram, page or my page and drop a comment. Somebody is going to help, those who are responsible, the department responsible would respond to them, case may be. And beyond that, let me say this to you, that apart from all the leadership programs we run, we also run Guardians of the Nation International, GOTNI, from a volunteer, perspective and social impact, perspective, where we create advocacies on the need for leadership development. In fact, sometime on the 7th of August, we are bringing a big event, African Leadership Conference in the Houston area, and
I'm sorry, network again. But he's going to be back with us. My apologies for the glitch with the network. Thank you so much for your beautiful energy. All right, sir, we can hear you, sir, if you are back with us. Yes.
Yes, I'm back with you, basically. So,
all right,
that's
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So you were saying something about boosting. There are a couple of people in the comments who also live abroad. Can you kindly just tell us the date again? The date for the program.
7th of August at Houston. And then 3rd to the 6th of August, we are partnering with Fraser Nets to host the Power Networking Conference, where 2,000 successful Black Americans, also come in to integrate and network with, and then build partnerships with people from Africa. I mean, so it's quite an amazing, and it builds up into our conference on the 7th. So it's fantastic. And then we have it in London on the 16th of September. And then we also have international leadership, intelligence program taking place in London as well. So we're not just in Nigeria. We're also taking our impact across the part of this country. We are taking it to African countries now, and we are talking about the head of states, to be able to share with them, the need for investment for leadership development, which is critical to transform Africa. It's about leadership.
It's very necessary. Yes. And can these courses be taken online for those who cannot be there physically?
Somebody who couldn't be there can, of course. We have online participants. Why not? The most important thing is that if you're hungry to become more, and then you add value to you.
Absolutely. I mean, in view of these network issues that we're having, that's bringing me to my next question, and that's the presidential election in 2023. As a leadership expert, what should we look for as young people, right? For the people we're going to cast our vote for, because we want to make sure that this PVC is used right. Yes. Please go ahead, sir.
So for me, I'll talk in context of everyone running for election in this country, whether it's for governorship, whether it's for House of Assembly, whatever it is, that Nigerians must look out for certain competencies. In fact, we have just launched in our leadership center a research program that will develop and highlight to Nigerians. We're going to give Nigerians input. The competencies, we'll break it down, simplify it, that every common person will understand that, we need, this competency, vision, leaders who are visionary. We explain to them what vision is about. So when they see a visionary leader, they know, right? Whether nobody advised them or not. We're talking about people with honor and integrity, right? It's a competent. I'm talking about people who are selfless. Selflessness in leadership is critical So we're talking about people who are production based, right? Who think innovation and production. We're talking about leaders who have capacity to work with other people. You understand what I'm talking about? These are all competencies, right? We're talking about the power to delay gratification. These are competencies that we're talking about right now. And so, for any moment from now, we're going to launch these competencies, and we will make sure that every Nigerian gets it for free at no cost to any Nigerian, just to make sure that it becomes a guide for us to choose the type of leaders, not just presidency, but also in government houses, also in the House of Assemblies, and then also even in the Senate and the House of Representatives, so that we will throw up a critical mass of people passionate who love this country.
Yes.
Who want to make a difference for Nigeria.
Yes, yes. And with the passion you have for Nigeria, I want to ask this question. Should we be expecting you to, at some point, go into politics? Because we need this sort of leadership, in the political sphere right now.
Well, it would be interesting to know. I actually ran for governor 4 years ago at the age of 44. I was the YPP governorship candidate for Imo State. I came hungry to make a difference. I wanted a world-class Imo filled with endless possibilities. We gave it our fight. And at the end of the day, we failed forward, right? But the interesting thing is that now we're building and building and building. Let's leave the future to decide the rest.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. I didn't even know that. So let's see what the future holds. Definitely, some of us are going to cast our votes for you. You already have. And I'm sure there are a lot of people in the comments right now who would also do the same. There are two people from GOTNI who are GOTNI alumni. I want them to just quickly share the story. Wisdom, if you're here, and the other amazing lady, Toby sent their names to me. I don't know if they're here, and they could send me.
I think I can give you their list. Alex Osagie, is there. You have the Merciful Ajimono, right? And then you have Kobo. Medley. So if they are online,
please, if you're online, can you request? Because to just speak. Of course, we need to hear your lived experience. We need to hear your experience at the GOTNI Leadership Institute to inspire other people to not only take the course but understand the work that is being done. There are a couple of people requesting. Okay, I have not seen any of them. Okay, none of them. No. Wisdom. I've been seeing him in the comments, but I cannot. Perhaps it's because of the network. I've not seen. He's been commenting while you were talking. He was, he was posting the GOTNified thing, but I've not seen him make a request. Wisdom, please, if you are there. However, while we wait for that, sir, would you want to take a question from maybe a random person, a random young person who would be privileged to just, speak with you very, very briefly? Okay. Right. Okay, now Merciful is here with us. He said, all right, that's good. Should join us right about now. All right, here we go. Hi.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining. I can see Dr. Linus's face already the moment you came on, and that says a lot about the kind of relationship you've built, mentor mentee. So can you kindly just share your experience with us at the GOTNI Institute and with Dr. Linus himself?
Okay. First of all, my name is Merciful Ajinomo. I'm a privileged participant of the last leadership masterclass we had. And first is I first met Dr. Linus at one dinner that was last year, and then I followed him online. I saw that he was doing amazing things, especially things that touched on the youth, Nigerian youth, and the preparedness towards greatness. So I followed him, and why not? I saw something and register.
Here we go with the network.
And
okay, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Don't mind the network.
Yes,
Please
and
go
I
on.
did. Okay, I registered and then I was privileged to be selected. And trust me, last week, which was on Friday, began on Friday, it was one of the most important days of my life this year. I cannot take it for granted. You know, when you go to meetings that you become really wowed that there's needful work to be done, not just as people who want to grow, but as people who want to leave a landmark in wherever they are as people. And really, I do not take it for granted. And I want to tell Dr. Linus to watch out because more is coming. I can believe that with all my heart. More is coming. Thank you so much for the privilege. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. We appreciate it today. Guys, you've heard from somebody. Thank you so much, Merciful. I would have to let you go right now so we can take someone else. Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else from the GOTNI Institute? Is that Promise on the list or Prominence? Okay, I think Wisdom is here. Right. Wisdom, yes. I follow his work as well online, so waiting for him to connect. Hi.
Great evening.
Good evening. Listen, before you introduce yourself, I want Dr. Linus to know that you are one of the most energetic people on Twitter that I follow. People talk about my energy, but you see, your own energy is unmatched. I'm like, what? This guy has like, I could be thinking something, and then I wake up and I'm like, okay, this, it must be made of something. So when they sent your name to me, that you're an alumni of GOTNI, I had it 1 + 1 together. I'm like, okay, that's it. We didn't fall far from the tree at all. So please introduce yourself and tell us your experience.
Okay, so my name is Alex Osage, and I'm popularly called Wisdom Counseling Online, but I prefer to be called Mr. Upgrade. And recently I coined the word GOTNified. So yes, anyway, I'm telling everybody that I am GOTNified. Okay, so this time last week, we had an amazing time with Dr. Linus and his team, and it was really phenomenal. For me, it was amazing because I come from the ancient city of Benin, where people don't believe that things like this can happen. And I've made up my mind to always go out for more knowledge, to go out for things that will help me continue to upgrade. And when this opportunity came, I latched onto it, booked my flight, went to Abuja, stayed, became the class president. Yes, I must brag about that. Became class president, and since then it has been amazing. I've had the push, I've seen the need to do more. And for me, like I said during the class, I said there's something I take away from the whole session, which is what I've coined into what is called DICE, D-I-C-E. Through the session, I've seen the need why one must remain diligent, irrespective of what you're doing. You must be diligent. Even the scripture says, see that a man who is diligent in his deeds, he will stand before kings and not meet men. And then number 2 is the I, which is intentional, right? We have a lot of young people who start off something today and the next day they're on to something else. They are moving with trends when they should stick with something to eventually become a trend. They are moving with trend instead of them to stick with something that will eventually become a trend. And that's what Dr. Linus has shown us, that for 27 years, you can stick with a thing and you become an authority in that thing. So you have to be intentional. And the C is consistency, right? You have to be consistent. You have to be like that Chinese bamboo who grows 90 feet in 5 years and 5 weeks, right? You have to have consistency in all that you do. And the E in the DICE is excellence, right? Excellence. Excellence must be your hallmark of everything that you do. If you really want to play global, you cannot afford not to be excellent, because you must pay attention to every detail and you must show up in your best self all the time. There's no day off. There's no holiday. You must be excellent every day, true and true. So that's what I took out from the whole session, to remain DICE, to be diligent, to be intentional, to be consistent, and to be excellent. And Dr. Linus, thank you so much. I can't wait to be in Lagos.
Thank you, Wisdom, for sharing. Very quickly before you go, if you had to mentor another person based on the knowledge you've gotten from Dr. Linus, what would you mentor them on? How would you mold that person based on this dice? Explain to us today. What would you do? Because we can see it all over you. So, what would you expect from your own mentee?
Okay, for me, I would expect that they will not be slim and they will be fat. Slim, they should not be scared, they should not be lazy, they should not be indecisive, and they should not be mediocre. And then they should be fat, they should be faithful, they should be accessible, and they should be teachable. That's all.
Thank you. I'm going to take you up on everything you've mentioned here on Twitter. So we can have that conversation. Because from dice to slim to fat, it's a conversation we need to take beyond there. But thank you so much for today. I appreciate you, for coming. Thank you very much. I would have to take one more person before we round up the session. Dr. Linus, who else is on the queue for you, sir, from GOTNI?
You have Kobo.
Yeah.
Okay, I cannot see them here. Please, if
Prominence.
you
have Prominence.
Prominence. Yes, Prominence is here. She is waiting. Oh, all right. Waiting for him to connect. I accepted his request to join. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Prominence.
Good evening.
Hi. Thank you
Good
evening. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Another GOTNified person. We just want to quickly hear from you. Tell us about your experience at the GOTNI Institute and how Dr. Linus has impacted your life.
Now, last weekend is one of the most amazing times I've ever had since January to June. Now, I want to say this. I'm a kind of person, apart from what I take from just teaching, I learn by observation. The very moment I saw Dr. Linus, I knew I had work to do. And even seeing him now, I know I have work to do. Like, I think I was one of those that always asked questions in the class. When I hear some things, my ears were tickling. Somebody stays on a vision for 27 years. I don't need any other message. Like, I have so much. Sincerely, the messages I got from GOTNI Leadership Masterclass this last weekend sticks with me even more than what was taught, even more than the slides. Seriously, Dr. Linus walks into the class. I see a man that has beaten the odds on global scale in the marketplace. And every day I wake up since last weekend, something keeps telling me, Prominence, the marketplace is a war zone. You have to fight. And Dr. Linus, it's still, look at, he's in his 50s. I see white hairs on his head. And I'm like, what? Prominence, there's work to do.
I'm not in my 50s, promise. I am 48.
What? Oh no! You can see. No.
It was necessary for him to correct you because one, we are live, and his profile is on Wikipedia. Somebody can take just this part of the conversation and run with it. So, thank you for the correction. Please continue.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Linus is 48 now. That's even a bigger challenge to me. Look at the time he started at 19, he had a vision, he ran with it. And even reading his book, Footprints, Leading Beyond Today, as I was reading the book, I saw the passion of Nehemiah inside of him. And somehow, I've caught that same passion. You won't believe every day I wake up, I'm staying on that book. And I'm looking at the chapters afresh. I'm looking at the Bible, I'm looking at Nehemiah, I'm looking at Dr. Linus, and I'm seeing a leader that should be people-focused and not just self-centered, especially in our country today, And for me, it has become a personal drive. I'm privileged to lead a number of young persons. I talk to a number of young people every day, and I've led about over 5,000 people currently. And leaving the Leadership Masterclass last weekend, I have got a very concrete message, and with a conviction. Yes, this is the word, with a conviction. It doesn't matter how long, it doesn't matter the fight. As far as the fight comes from within, I'm ready to stay on it. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take. The courage, the perseverance, the zeal, in as much as the vision is there, I'm running with it. Dr. Linus, thank you so much, sir. Your life inspires me. Your life. I'm happy to see you again, sir. I'm really happy to see you. I'm really glad to see you again,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prominent.
Yeah.
We appreciate your input. Thank you very much. We're just going to take one more person, sir. I think Kobo is here. Kobo, please, what's your name? I cannot, oh yes, I'm just going to accept Kobo. Yeah, and then right, waiting for Kobo to join in. I hope the network won't. Kobo, we're waiting for you. I accepted your request to join. Please, if you're all right, here we go. Hi. You're live, Kobo.
Okay.
I think the network. Hi.
Hi. Good evening. Yes,
Good evening.
yes, I'm here.
Good. I mean, I should say, sir, on the account of
sorry. Okay.
yes, on the account of gender equality, I am happy we have a woman. Yes, please go on, Kobo. Please introduce yourself very quickly and tell us how Dr. Linus and the GOTNI Institute inspired you.
Okay. Good evening, sir. So nice to see you again. My name is Kobo Medlin. Okay, so I saw the GOTNI link on a group I belong to, on a volunteer group I belong to, and she was like, tune in, you really love this opportunity. And I was like, okay. So I was like, I don't have anything to lose. Let me just sign up. I didn't really know what it was about. I didn't even research about it. So I signed up, and they said they were going to reach out to us and all of that. So then I read about it, and I was like, this is huge. So a few days later, I wasn't getting any response because they didn't send the mail when they were supposed to send. So I was like, okay, let me just let it go and all of that. And the next thing, boom, congratulations. I'm like, oh my God. So I traveled down to Abuja, and that was my first time in Abuja. Like, I've not been there before. So I had to come down to Abuja, and I attended the program. I met Dr. Linus, and it was amazing. The class was, it's like, these are the things we know, but someone actually explained it better, threw more light on it, and made us understand that even as simple as it is, we need to think, we need to understand these things and to apply it into our life. So two things that got my attention was the hierarchy of leadership we taught, mind leadership, leading people. Just so the most important one that caught my mind was the mind leadership, that leadership starts from you, from your mind. So if it doesn't start here, you can't bring it out and all of that. And the second thing, there was this word, this sentence he made. He said, crave for impact. And I've always been one person that loves impact. So he said, crave for impact. Don't just see it as anything. Go for it. Invest in it. Whatever it takes, just get it. And I am glad I was part of this program, and I got to meet Dr. Linus and other amazing persons that came to talk to us. And honestly, with the way, with my experience from GOTNI, it has led me to thirst for more knowledge, for more impact. If it's to save, if it's to grow, just to attend more. So like, I'm so excited about this. Like, I've just been preaching about GOTNI since I got back from Abuja. Like, GOTNI this, GOTNI that, GOTNI this. Come on, follow the page, reach out. Like, everywhere GOTNI. So thank you, Dr. Linus. Thank you, GOTNI. Thank you, everyone. I really, really appreciate this opportunity, and I will take it for granted. You will see the results, sir. You definitely see the results.
Thank you so much. Before you go, I just want to ask you, what do you do, on a larger scale as a person, doctor, I'm sorry, I got to be partial, It's a woman. What do you do? What do you do?
Okay.
So, yeah.
One, I'm a publicist, so I do more PR jobs for brands and organizations. I work with a record label at the moment, and also I'm a social media entrepreneur. So whatever comes to social media, ads, account management, whatever, I'm the guru there. So that's what I do. And also I'm a model.
Girl, you are everything.
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm also going to connect with you, on the PR side and see what we can do together. And that's because, we have, we share a mentor in common, and the person who has inspired me in a lot of ways that he doesn't even know. But I'm saying this live now. This is what collaboration is all about. This is what sisterhood is all about. So I don't need to know you from anywhere for me to be in your space and for me to support your work. So on the count of Dr. Linus's legacy, I'm going to connect with you and we'll see what we can do together, and we'll take it up from there. But beyond that, thank you so much.
I'm excited about this.
Yes, I'm going to be in your inbox. So thank you for sharing. Enjoy your evening. Thank you very, very much. And I'll connect with you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, there.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Doctor, the last question that I have for this session, but before I ask you, I must say that you've done an amazing work with these young people. It's the glow, it's the passion, from the way they're speaking, they are ready to go into the world and make a difference. So thank you so much for that. So my last question, what are the steps to take in becoming a good leader?
First thing first is self-discovery. Self-discovery. You can't become a great leader until you have discovered self. So you operate from your natural point of view. The natural talent is the fastest way for leadership to happen. So imagine an economy, for instance, where people leave high school and they get into fashion. Maybe those who are passionate about fashion who have discovered that that's where they find themselves. Imagine those who discover themselves, they're singers, they're dancers, and they go into film schools, those type of things, and with great certification, no dichotomy. You know what I mean? So imagine if economies are grown based on self-discovery. Once people discover themselves and they grow, the next thing is personal development. First, you discover who you are. The next one is you begin to develop yourself, develop your leadership skills, develop your competencies, develop the way you talk to people. There's a body of knowledge of every other thing you can imagine, and you grow those areas. The moment you start learning, growing, what happens to you is that growth happens to you. Then when you stay at it over a period of time, stay on what you have discovered, what you have started investing on over time, developing over time, you gain mastery. Right? So if you wake me up from sleep right now and you want me to share concepts of leadership, I don't need to think twice because it is already part of me. I eat it, I drink it. And that is why the best way to transform this country is when you have a great president emerge in Nigeria. The president is going to now find people who have discovered themselves, say in agriculture, and they have developed their competencies over time. They are passionate about agriculture. Put them in the Ministry for Agriculture as ministers. You know what's going to happen? There will be transformation there. And everybody goes to a segment where they are passionate about. That's what we're talking about right now. So the fastest way for leadership is self-discovery. Second is personal development. And then the next one is gaining mastery. Once you gain mastery, you can build something significant. The world will know you for something. Yes. And everyone listening to me, what does the world know you? I thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the time. Just on a final note, if you were to say something to a young person who is downtrodden right now, who is about to give up on life because a lot of people are going through, the economy is having its toll on a lot of young people, what would you say to that person listening to you right now?
So every person listening to me right now, I want you to know that as you are right now, You must gain mind leadership. Take control of your mind. The things happening in your environment that is tough is usually, part of the growth process, right? So if you can sit down and discover the vision why you were born and wait through that process, do not allow anybody tell you you will become the best you can ever be. So the moment you start craving for impact, then you start stretching for growth. It's called stretching for impact. That's when you start. So when things are not working, that's when you are studying why things are not working, and then you are building the principles on how to transform things. So I'm asking every young person sitting here, should find a sense of direction, develop a sense of purpose. Anybody listening to me today, I want you to go beyond the marketplace. Go through the process. Don't delay gratification. Do not allow anybody to take you on the path of shortcuts. Shortcut does not take you anywhere. Go through the process. One day, you will build something that society will be proud of. I remember a day I was addressing Nigerians on my regular television show called Leadership Clinic on AIT Kakaki. I was talking about pick up your dreams again. And a particular young man who was listening, he had already said to himself he was going to kill himself that day. The issues of life had swallowed him. He was not thinking about living. He wanted to die. And then I came with a small talk that I tried to pick up that dream again. And the young man said, let me hear what this man has to say. And then he listened to those bits. When he finished listening to those bits, the young man said to himself that he will not die anymore. He picked up the phone and called me and said, I just saved his life. Yeah, it's God that helped make that happen. And I have a belief system that young person today, has become successful with his life. Yeah. Because, if you cannot allow life to drown you, it's the path of success. Mental health is real. That's why mental leadership is critical. Mind leadership is critical. Just believe in here that you go through the process and come out strong. You succeed. You become the best that you want to be. Society will be able to feel you. And one thing that you must remember, if a man does have a purpose to waking up, sleeping becomes interesting. Yes. So have a great night.
Thank you very much, sir. God bless you for this amazing session. People in the comments are already saying that they've learned a lot. Please, guys, go on Dr. Linus' page to know more about the programs at GOTNI. And for those asking in the comments how they can be part of the conference in Austin, those abroad, I'm sure they're going to release. Is there any material that will be released soon, sir, with regards to the conference?
Send us a note. That's a GOTNI site. Yeah, and then we'll get back to them.
All right. Please send a message to the GOTNI Instagram page.
Go to the website.
Or go to the website. Yeah, go to the website for more information about that. Thank you very much, sir. Have an amazing evening. May God honor you once again. Enjoy your weekend, sir. All right, so bye. Bye, everyone, and have a good night. Thank you so